Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Tide Area Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about a restoration that I'm going to do on a Robo-Copter. Now, first of all, maybe you don't care about the Robo-Copter. Maybe you don't care about the Robo-Copter line. But I'm going to reveal all of my secrets, or the vast majority of my secrets, in this restoration project as I restore this helicopter. It's going to whiten it. I'm going to fix broken parts. I'm going to use pins. I'm going to show you all of my methods, most of my methods that I use to fix these. Hopefully you learn a little bit. I'm inspired a bit by Toy Polloi and Retro Blasting and a couple of these other sites that actually take on fixing vintage toys, restoring vintage toys. I have my own techniques that I'm about to share coming up. First thing you gotta do is try to get the parts. You get a part. These propellers are hard to get, so I've got a trick for that later on. I'll show you how to get some propellers. This thing here is broken. It came with it. I'm gonna show the fix on that. These missiles, you can generally still find all of the missiles for pretty cheap on eBay and other places. This thing here is kind of hard to find. It's a little grappling hook piece. And then the propeller connector piece, and then the launcher. And so pretty much if you've got all that, then you're up and running. We're going to get into taking this bad boy apart. First off, taking this guy apart, we're going to remove the cockpits and not break them. And then this one here, it's a little trickier. You could actually start unscrewing it and it would make it easier too. Okay, so we're going to unscrew right here, this point, this point, this point, this point, and underneath the blue. So that is going to be a bit of a challenge. So to make all of this unscrewing easier, let's raise up the camera a bit. We're going to disconnect these parts and pieces. Now, it's a bit of a challenge with some of them, but these pieces can come off. Now, I'm not going to whiten these because they're already pretty white, but we are going to clean those. And then this one here, so we can get that out of the way. So now we're getting this thing stripped down to bare bones, and I would not advise to pull this one off. Well, I guess you can. You can pull that one off too, so that can come off. So now we're down to just this. We have a problem with the front piece because it's glued. We have the back metallized blue is glued to the seat, so that's a challenge within itself. So I'm going to go ahead and just start taking out the easy ones. And they are real easy, and they're really small threads. There's not many turns. I was like, oh, I want to rig up my electric to be able to do this with my electric drill bit to make it go faster, but it's kind of unnecessary. And here is this last one here on this side, on the edge, and we have this one right here. Up underneath here, it's a challenge. You gotta kind of have to lift up on it and unscrew it at the same time without chipping the blue. And you're not going to be able to get it out till you take it apart. So once you have the screws, you don't want to lose those screws. So I do advise you put all the extra screws into a baggie. Yeah, I happen to have one right here. But just keep up with all these parts as you're pulling them off. You don't want to lose them. And I don't know if you could get them with the same threading. Okay, here was one right here. I was like, oh, I thought I was missing one. There's this one here too. Real simple. Now the separating of it and taking it apart. Now, this can be a bit tricky. So this part here, slider, it came off. We're going to put that into the baggie. And then as you separate this, you can see that the back comes apart easy, the front does not so much. And the reason why is because this piece is just going to fall out when you start separating it, because this chrome blue piece is in the way. I didn't find a good easy way to do it, so I just kind of went at it, and whichever side gave first, once that comes off, then the other side easily comes off. And so remembering, I guess the right side will go on first. That is a bit of a challenge. So now we have this, and the important part about this, getting a different angle, the important part about this one is that you're going to be able to whiten this whole piece here. But we're going to do a few more things before we get out there and whiten it. The first thing we're going to do is get these out. So from the back side, you can just easily push them out with maybe a screwdriver like the same one you used. Now I do want to kind of keep up with which one goes with which. And you might be able to see it, but as you can see, the brakes are always different. Nothing ever breaks evenly. I'll show you my method for fixing this, and no, it's not glue, but just kind of keeping an idea of which one goes to which side, and I'll keep track of that myself right over here. And the last bit to get off of here before we bleach this bad boy is to get this out. Now it's kind of has that mushroom to it, so you don't want to just pull it out, but you want to help collapse that mushroom piece, and then you can pull it out. And this thing would just turn like to gray if you use that that bleach that I'm going to use on this. So I use two different types of bleaches. I'm going to go over that here in just a minute. So the next step in this is to scrub up and clean everything. So I'm going to apply this. This is an all-purpose degreaser. This bottle is like $1 at good old Walmart, but spray it on, and I use an old toothbrush, or, well, actually this is a new toothbrush that I use to clean this stuff, but it's old because I've been using it for a while. But you just get into the little crevices and grooves, and your goal here is to get all the dirt and stuff off of it, and this itself will make it a little bit whiter. And I did this with the other one. You got to be careful with this degreaser though, because this degreaser will take off paint, it will mess up stickers and all of that. And it's, you want to have a well ventilated room if you're using this stuff, and you don't want to get it on anything that it doesn't bleach anything, but it just like really does. It's a harsh abrasive chemical, and it will do quite a bit of nastiness to a lot of things that you don't want it to, I bet. So scrubbing it up, you can use more abrasive things like this scrub pad, but this scrub pad could possibly leave marks. I only use it if like there's something really bad that won't come off. That's when I use this one. Something just like real bad, because it will scratch it up. Something like a green scrub pad will scratch up your plastic. You don't want to do that. And here we go, getting it good and clean. Let's move to the next ones. This little section here, it's actually glued together, which makes it really hard to disassemble and reassemble. I find that this won't hurt back metallized, because it'll take paint off, but not metal. But the scrubbing with the brush might, so it's just gonna get that. I'll rub it a little bit with my hands. And you might wanna wear gloves. Of course, when I've been using this so much that I know what my threshold for it is. It doesn't hurt me. You may be allergic to it or something, so you gotta look at the ingredient list, but anyway, look how much better that looks once it's been cleaned. Yeah, it looks good. It's got some scratches on it, but it's not too bad. Again, do that same process for all of these great parts. The next step for the whitening process here, I lay out plastic wrap, because you are going to need to wrap this bad boy up. You have a brush and your 20 volume cream. So you want to shake your 20 volume cream. Now where do you get this? It's a salon place. I don't really know what they're all called, but shake it up and then you pour it a little bit on, and doesn't really matter how much. And then it's pretty cheap. It's not really all that expensive. But first of all, I do want to point out before we go any further, you must wear some sort of protective eyewear if you're messing with this stuff, because it's not like regular hydrogen peroxide. So 20 volume hydrogen peroxide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush and just brush it on really well here. And you want to get every square inch of this. Anything that's white on the outside, you don't really, it's a waste of time doing it on the inside. And then, as you see, I'm not really touching it. I don't want to touch it. It will chemically burn your hands, so changing the color of your hands, so that's an issue. So I'm going to set this, we're going to wrap this up in plastic now, since it's been painted real good, and then we're going to put it outside in the sun, and for one day, that's pretty much all it's going to take. And we're going to do this with both sides. I'm going to be trying to make these clear parts a little less amber. I don't know if it's actually going to work or not. I don't think I've really gotten good results with clear, but this white piece, I don't know if you can see it, but it doesn't look so white. It looks a little bit yellowed, and I want it bright white. So in order to get it bright white, I'm going to toss it in here. And we're going to use this 20 volume clear, and it's a liquid. And I've been using this for a long time. I did this with my stormtroopers and stuff, so it works pretty well. But it's weird. I think the paste works better. I really do. I think the paste is a much better product. But this, I think you have more time on your hands. The paste, I don't really care. This can be super white. This can go super white. But like on that piece here, this piece here has like a blue piece on it, and that blue piece for the trigger would kind of fade. So I don't want anything to fade on that. That's why I'm using this liquid. It just takes longer. Now to go put all this out in the sun and wait a day or two. Next up, we have to fix the landing skid. The thing about fixing the landing skid is that it has to be strong enough to hold up the entire support. You have to be able to support the whole thing and just set it down, and it's got to be able to hold it. And this landing skid was repaired the same way I'm going to repair this one. For some reason, it's the port side that always fails, the driver's side. Anyway, on this here, I insert pins. I've seen a lot of people do this kind of method, but they always use tools I don't have, and I wanted to use tools I have. I'm not buying a tool just for one fix here. So the first thing I do is I basically find the smallest, the absolute smallest drill bit I can find, and then I found some, they call it a wire brad. It's just a nail, it's a tiny nail, but brads I guess are small nails, and then it's about the same size. It's slightly thicker than this, so it will fit in tight, it'll sit in tight, but trial and error is where I got to what I have and what I use, and I'm sure if you try this it would be nice trial and error. So the first thing that you're going to do is drill out a little hole there, and you don't want to go all the way through it. You want to go about 75% through so it can be seated in there. Okay, next you're going to put your brad into it, but maybe I went through too far. And then you're going to see kind of how far it goes in. And that's in there pretty solid. So at the same time, you're going to want to drill the same way through here. And this is the hardest part, is lining this up, drilling directly in the center so it'll all line up just right. You do not use your fingers. Use something else, but there it goes. It's not directly in the center, but it's pretty close. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side for both of these. When you use tools to hold it, you can't feel it. I hate to admit it, but I'm using my fingers. Not safe. Next step in here, you are going to snip off the brad. So about yay amount, just enough to set it in there, and then we can glue it. And then you don't want that brad to fly. It's gonna fly, so I'll try to catch it as it snips. Then you can put the same brad into the other side, just like this, and boom, you've got yourself two brads. And then for this, I'm gonna go snap this off. I'm gonna clip that, but I'm gonna clip that last little bit into the trash can. So I just took a little bit of time doing what I was just showing you to make sure it fit. Now I didn't put any glue on it just yet. Wanted to make sure everything fit just right. What I'm gonna do is pull each one out just a tad, put a little glue in there to hold it all together. And since this glue it's actually a gel, see if I can get that focused in. It's actually a gel, it's gonna work a lot better. It's gonna hold, I don't have to be as fast with it, but then now I just work it back into it and let it dry. It actually dries pretty quick too. All right, so here we go. I have these parts. They've been sitting for 2 days out in the sun with all of this fun peroxide on. Now you should wear gloves if you mess with this. For me, I'm not going to because I move quickly, but I do advise people that aren't used to messing with this and you don't know how your skin would react to it, please wear gloves. So as you can see, there's still stuff on it. So I'm going to rinse it off. Oh, and don't just throw it around, you might break something. It's still, I think this process might make the plastic a little bit more brittle. There's a possibility of that, so bear that in mind. And I will need to throw this away. And I'm gonna run and throw this away. No need to get that any more wet, but here we go. That came out really nice. I don't know if the camera's picking up how super bright white this is now. This is one of the most effective ways to brighten white. I don't know why. The paste is better than the liquid, but we're about to see how well the liquid works too. I've been doing this for a while now with brightening stuff. I don't think I really did anything on the inside. I'm gonna set it aside. I'm gonna set it over on a towel and let it kind of drip dry. But yeah, you want to definitely, when you're done with this, wash your hands or rinse your hands off real good. Next up, we have this bad boy here. So open it up. Now, I'm going to quickly pull the stuff out and lay it down, but I'm going to close it back off. And then I'm going to rinse my hand off. And I'm going to rinse all this stuff off too. But I want to show you kind of what was accomplished with this and how effective it was. So here is this part here. It looks a little bit more clear. It does look a little bit better. And then here is this, looking a little bit better, but this looks really white compared to what it looked like before. I have to say, I actually reused the solution about 3 or 4 times. And my 3rd or 4th time, I get lesser results than I did the first time. So this was all fresh solution for this video, of course. And let's get this dried off. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so here we go. This is, it still has a bit of a yellow tinge to it, but it's way better than it was before. It does work a little bit on clear. I don't think it works as well on clear as it does on the white. Now, see how super gleaming white that is. And then these pieces came out really nice too. So now that we got this cleaned and dried, we got to put this back together. So basically, closing this up like so, but it's got to go underneath this lip. So kind of challenging in a way to get it done. I don't see that either side is really that big of a deal. I'm gonna have to wiggle that back and forth. Again, it was pre-assembled with these parts glued together. I don't know if I could, I tried to separate them, but I think I would end up breaking it and then I would glue it back together again, but it wouldn't be the same as the way they did it. So that's why I'm going about this in kind of a strange way. But got to get this tucked under here. There will be some crazy movements to get this together. All right, line this up. That lined up, but we've got to get all of this together. So that's a pain. And you're just gonna have to work on it. And after just kind of fiddling with it and working on it, I kind of worked it into place here. And then going down, we have to line up all these other pieces so that we get it to work. And then we're gonna have to go with continuing to assemble it before we put the screws in. Okay, so there's a couple of these parts that's gonna have to get put back in here. This slider piece needs to go in with the hole to the front, and there it is. That slider piece. Also this here, this blue piece, needs to go in here with the hole out like so, and it's gonna, I think it's gonna go in like that, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'll have to put that back on second. But this is probably the harder of the two to put on. Especially hard with the camera in the way. Everything's harder with the camera on. But here we go with that, and then just kind of open it enough to get it in there, and then try to realign everything and put this back on right here. Then we can start with the screws, and I'm gonna start screwing in the middle. So I think this one right here is going to hold it together the most. And again, there's not, I think these are the standard Kenner screws. Like all of the Star Wars vehicles use the same screw, I think. I don't know for sure, but I think that. And then put that one in. And we don't really have to show it. This is the super easy part. We're going to put screw here, here, and then underneath here. You're going to have to flex it a bit. But those are where the screws go. Now with the screws back in, it probably would have been better, and this is silly too, I'm kind of going backwards, but to loosen these screws just a bit before you put the canopy back on, so that you could give a little bit of flex, so that the canopy doesn't flex as much. I always worry about breaking, gosh, there's not much to that screw. I always worry about breaking canopies, especially the clear plastic. We can flex this just a bit, put it in there, and that gives it just a little bit of extra space. And then this other canopy over here, we can give this a bit of a flex, just a little bit, to help it get in there a little easier, I think. Methinks. Just a little bit of help. Wow, that's not working as easy as I thought, but shouldn't be this hard to just get a canopy put in. And that's with it loosened up a bit. Wow. As you can see now looking at it, that does look a little bit darker. That one lightened up a lot. Next up, we're going to start putting parts on it, such as this tail piece. It's going to pop right into there, nice and easy. Then we're going to put these pieces on. Now, these back bigger wings, they face forward, which is strange, and it only could go in one way. And it's funny because look how white these are. Like, this is super re-whitened. I didn't whiten these at all. They were already white. So they use different types of plastic. Kenner's always done that. Different types of plastic. This is softer and more pliable. This is harder and more rigid, so that these can move when they get bumped. No, this is going to go on the other side. Just going to go right here. And that needs a bit of extra pressure to go into it, and then same thing here. That takes quite a bit of pressure to go in, and you want to lift up the glue a little bit. All right, next up, we're going to be putting on these right here. So we've got these guides, and not the guides, but the, okay, so what side? I think they're the same exact thing. These are the landing skids. I think they're exact same thing. So we're just going to see which one. Since I did do a repair on them to get them to go in here, they might be at a slightly different angle than what they were originally. Then we got one in there, and then putting the other one in. Got to be careful not to mess up the fix that I already did to them. And now it's on the skids there. We're making some progress somehow, some way. There's a few more things to do to assemble it, and then we got to put the stickers on. So looking right here, you have this thing. You have to feed this through here. This feeds through here as part of the grappling hook thing, which is a pretty cool gimmick that it has. So you can feed that all the way through. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take this all the way to the back. You're going to go through this hole here and then tighten it off so that when it's all the way to the back, the hook's up and then it levers down. So here, and I guess you could just do it like that, call it that, and then tie it off, however you want to do it. That's how I'm doing it. So missiles, I believe the shorter, fatter ones go on here, like that, and then the bigger ones go on here, and I think you could go up top or down below. I guess it goes down below. So that's how that works. And then we do the same on the other side. Wait, you telling me you're not going to hold your missile? That's not cool. Hold that missile. Of course, I'll probably look at a picture and make sure I got the right missiles in the right slot. And then we're going to have to put these on. Now, if you can look at this, you can see this is the one we whitened, and this is another one that hasn't been whitened. And as you can see, significantly wider. That camera's not picking it up as well, but this one is significantly wider, and it didn't fade. So that's going to clip on underneath here on the bottom, and then you insert this missile. That's for the launcher. And all we got left is the propeller and the stickers. Okay, so I came up short on some blades, so I decided to use a capture copter. Now on the capture copter, there's a few parts that you could use that are exactly the same on it, like this piece here is exactly the same, and the blades. Now I removed the blade. I was going to do it on camera, but it was actually in there really good. I don't want to break it, and I see a lot of broken blades and broken parts and stuff, so I don't want to do that. Alright, so let's put this blade on here, and so there's a notch. That notch needs to face up, and it also has some decorative stuff on the top. And we're going to put it in at an angle like this. So we're going to put that very first hole up to this notch, and then see if we can do this all on camera. And then we're just going to kind of snap it in place right here. And that's how that goes on. Alright, so all that's left now is to add the decals. Now I make my own decals. There's three ways I do it. Number one, I copy originals or a sticker sheet, or I pull the original off and I copy it. Number two is I take a snapshot of the stickers off of maybe the internet somewhere, or somebody sends me a scan or something like that. Number three is I buy repros like Toy Hacks, or somebody sells them. Now in this case, you can get all of the Robo-Cop ones from a guy in Australia, makes his own stickers. They look pretty good. So anyway, I made these myself off of a copy of an original. So let's get into showing you how I do this. Now, what I do is I cut them out, and then I use double-sided tape, and it's the permanent double-sided tape. And then what I'll do is just put double-sided tape on it, and I cut around it. So I'll just cut it out, cut out the outline of it, and then stick it right on. And it's pretty simple stuff here. And just cut the excess tape that's around there off. And that's a lot of fun. Just do it like that, stick them all on. So this one is going to go right here. We're going to stick this on like so on this spot. And move on to the rest of them. We got this one here that's going to go right there. Lining it up and sticking it on. Easier said than done. So we got this sticker that goes right here. Which I don't know what you call that, an air intake sticker. Something along those lines. We've got two dashboard stickers. So we got one dashboard sticker that kind of goes right here. And then we've got another dashboard sticker that's going to go back here. And this one kind of goes in funny. Now these stickers kind of hold the whole thing together. So getting it in there and up, it almost looks like a mushroom. The shape, it has to be kind of like a mushroom. There it goes in there. Apply some pressure so you can get it to stick really well. And there it is, all stickered up. Let's do a comparison with the other helicopter. Alright, so here it is all completed up. It looks pretty good, but let's compare it next to my other one that did not get bleached, didn't get the same level of treatment. And I have to say that this one does look better. There's a couple of things that you're going to notice between these that probably isn't as easy to see. But I didn't bleach the cockpits, and the canopies look much better on this one than the original one, and they looked worse to start. This thing looked way worse to start than this one did. You can tell the white is much whiter than that, and it really looks really good and it pops. This had no stickers, or only these stickers here on it still when I got it, so now having all of the stickers, it looks really good. So this restoration, I will say it's a bit of a success. I'm pretty excited about it. In fact, it looks better than the one that I had that I thought was my best one. So looking at all this, pretty excited. Hopefully you learned a little bit from it. Like and subscribe. Teddy Hair out.